KPI Ladder. I'm Sheetal, your host for today, and we are into research based competency development and niche skills hiring. I'm very thrilled and excited about today's episode. Today, we are joined by a seasoned L&D professional, who resumed her career after a sabbatical. We all are sure that, career breaks are common, but returning back to the workforce can be equally challenging. Today's episode dives into the lessons and insights during this transition. So grab your cup of coffee and let's dive in. A very warm welcome and hi Shirley.
Hi, Sheetal. Great talking to you.
Same here, very excited to have you here today.
Thank you.
Can we just hear briefly about you? A small introduction so that the audience knows.
So, as Sheetal has already introduced me, I am Sherly. I have a 15-year experience, out of which close to 9 years was in L&D. I then decided to take a break which was meant for a 6-month break, which just got elongated till a 7-year break. And later, now I have resumed my career again. So that's a short introduction about me. Okay, so when I resigned, in my last profile, I was an assistant manager for learning and development. Currently now I work as a manager for learning and development.
Wow, sounds interesting, Shirley. So, coming back to our topic for today, I understand the reasons could be personal, but what made you take a sabbatical and what was it like, stepping away from work?
Yeah, so to be frank, when I started, when I took the decision to actually put down my papers, one was that it was a little difficult a decision because I had spent close to 15 years in one organization. So
My God.
stepping out from there, yes, it was a difficult decision to take. But then at times there are commitments, family priorities, so you need to take that call because it otherwise you know that there's going to be a backlash to things. So I had to take that. So yeah, when L&D started, L&D did not come as a choice, it came by chance. I used to deliver trainings, but it wasn't done in a formal way. So you look at any organization, many places, you would have some person who does training and you just sit next to that person and you learn the process. It could be a newbie and all that. But then, this time in my previous organization, they actually got a batch of people joining in and they decided that I had to be the one to train them. And that's how it started. But then at that point of time, I was more a person who was into quality rather than training. But I picked up training also at that time. And then the journey started. Then I formally got inducted into the training team into that organization. And that was a very interesting and a learning journey because training as such, when you say there's a lot to learn, you yourself need to learn a lot of things, you need to unlearn a lot of things for you to deliver the best to the people who are sitting in front of you. Okay, so whom you're going to train people. So I'm happy that the then director actually had the confidence that I could actually fill up that shoes. And there were a lot of challenges, I will tell you, across the way when we speak. So again, when coming back to the topic, we were speaking about career break. Yes, so when I decided, it was quite a challenging one. It was a very emotional one, I would say, because for me, after spending 15 years, it was a little difficult task to put down the papers.
I get that.
So you had your own set of friends, you had your own network of people. So it becomes very, very difficult for you to let go of a lot of things. But initial days after I resigned and I was at home, it was more like I was on a vacation, so it went on well, I would say, because you generally take your 10-day break or you take your 15-day break from work. So that went on well. And secondly, since I had just come back from my mat leave for my second child, so it was easier for me to cope for the first few days. But then later, when you realize that you're not adding value to anything other than your value at home, you realize that somewhere down the line you're not getting aligned to what you are meant to be. Okay, so yes, many people would
I
face
mean,
that.
being a mother of two, sorry, I completely resonate this. So,
Yes, yeah. So when I decided, there was a lot of challenges we had to go through. So my younger one was not keeping well, and a lot of things made me actually decide. And I wasn't spending too much of time with my elder one, for that matter, because I travel close to 2 hours one way to reach office, and the same thing back. So by the time I return home, everybody has slept except for the little one. So there are people waiting for me to come back and take care of the younger ones so that they could get back to their work. So there were a lot of things that came and clashed together. So then I decided, okay, let me take a break probably for 6 months and then start looking out for another job. So that was my intention. It wasn't that I wanted a 7 year long career break, but then yeah, the
yeah,
intention was just for a short period to, be with my children for some time and then resume my journey, because I started working right out of college. So there I didn't have, any time as such. Many of us, for that matter, after college we start working. So
true.
for us, once you get into the grid of getting into going and working every day, it becomes challenging to stay at home every day, because once
Vice
you're done.
versa, I can understand.
Yeah, so yeah, once you are committed to what you are doing and all your tasks are completed, then you are clueless about what you need to do for the entire day. So initially when my baby was young, it was okay, you had some time. So that went on till a year and two, till I could put him into a school. So after that is when it started to actually starts biting you, that somewhere down the line there's nothing you're doing, you're not contributing as such. Yeah, so then during this period we also had COVID come in, so that again put a stop to my aspirations of continuing my journey, because it's very difficult to find a job, because it was a time when everybody is at home, and even if you found a job, you couldn't juggle between managing your kids online classes and
Very
running
true.
the work at home, people working at home, everybody confined into one particular place. It becomes quite difficult and
Challenging.
challenging, so you had to put that aspiration out again. So that's how each year went on, and then it's, I think, probably as formally started looking out for a job, I think in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there have been challenges during this time where when you actually.
So Shirley, did you pursue any skills or certifications while you were away from work?
Yes, I'll come to that. Okay, so when I'll tell you what inspired me to start upskilling myself. So I knew I was a seasoned L&D professional, but then it's only when I started to give interviews, and when you actually go through, when you had the time to go through some YouTube videos and all those data that's available for you online, is when you realize that you were behind, you are left behind, because people are moving ahead. Okay, so this is where I decided that I wanted to continue, though as I told you, L&D came as a chance, but I took it up as a passion, and I wanted to continue to be in L&D and did not want to choose any other career path. So though there were opportunities available where you had to again when I say restart, people come up with the word restart. So I was not okay with a restart, because a restart would be where you start where
Scratch.
from the scratch. Correct. Okay, you need to start from the scratch. Now after having 15 years of experience, there's so much of you know things and you can contribute, but then that when you start from scratch, you're going to be restricted to a lot of things which might not be okay with many of them. So that's when I decided that, okay, then since I am lacking in something, I need to go up the thing. So that's when I decided that I would start upskilling myself. So I reached out to, I'm not sure if you're aware, there's an Asian College of Teachers. So they had these master training certificate, train the trainer master
Train
certificate.
the trainer programs.
Correct.
Yes,
So
yes.
I enlisted over there and I completed my certification over there. Along with that, I did another course with them, which was for ROI for L&D.
Wow.
So during this phase, again, there was a lag, because many times you would clear all your interviews, but then at the last minute when they see your resume, or they suddenly realize, oh god, you are in a career break, we don't want to hire you. And that was something that was not okay with me, because we have spent, it's not that we did not, even if we were 7 years, people say, in 7 years you would have learned to manage your house, you would have learned a lot of things, that's very true. But then when it really hit the professional world, nothing matters there, because for them it doesn't matter whether you have managed your home, you managed anything you've done. What matters to them is, why did you take that career break? Your break, yeah, there is a break in your career, so we cannot give you what you are asking for. So that's when I decided to do this course with them. And then I keep up joining through Coursera, LinkedIn, all these places wherever possible. When I find that something is related to L&D and that could help me, I have taken that opportunity to go in and upskill myself with that.
Yes.
So but my focus was, as I said, L&D. There was nothing beyond L&D. So then I would say I started freelancing. So that was again a different arena. There was someone who approached me to freelance at their academy. So I had to teach English and get people interview ready. Okay. So then when I started that, it was fun and it was good to actually guide people to what they need to be. But then I knew that somewhere down the line, this was not where I had to be. And because that was just a limited option, and there could be students, there could not be students. So you don't get paid on a regular basis. So all these things, again, ultimately, any person who works, however passionate you are, one thing is common, that everybody looks for a stable income that comes into your hand.
I agree.
Okay, then I started to explore a lot of my networks, trying to figure out if there's something that they could help me, because I had a network of a lot of people from L&D. So I reached out to them, but then it never, how do I say, it never conceptualized to what I wanted. Then that's when one of my someone whom my relative knew, they helped me with an interview with Trigen. Okay, so
Okay.
they ran it through their how do I say, their network of friends, and that's when it came to Trigen. So I was a little skeptical when I went for the interview. When they took the interview, they would accept me or not. But then they saw me for what I am, and they were happy to have me, and which actually boosted. The first day I had to go to work, and it was, you wear a bundle of nerves, because you're going to do something which you haven't done before, because you're going back to a new place. So 15 years when I worked with my previous organization, I did not feel that, because you have been in that organization from when the organization started. So you were what you call is an oldie, but then now you are getting into something which you call into something new. So that was very, very challenging. Yeah, the first journey was, I was in a mixed emotions. I did not know what lies ahead of you. So this an interview also happened quite quick, and they were ready to take me in and all that. So yeah, so initial few days after joining also would be challenging, but one thing people need to know is, when they are returning to their journey, is, do you have a backup plan? Okay, because it's nice to go give interviews, and there are people who would accept you into the job, but then later on the second day or third day you realize that, oh god, I know there's no one to take care of my child, I can't continue this. So I understand many people, once you take a break, you get too emotionally attached, so it becomes very difficult to come out of the break. And that's the most challenging part, I feel, for any woman. And I don't think it's just women. I think of late you will see a trend of even men going on career breaks, and they too find it difficult to come back. And I think more than women, men being like, in the traditional point of view, that men being the how do I say, the earners of the family, the breadwinners of the family, it becomes difficult for them to get that break from their sabbatical. So it is not just about women who cannot make it. I've seen even
Very true.
men cannot make it up, and it's not easy because when you have a family to support, it becomes more difficult for you to you know sit at home and then think, oh god, I took a break, now I'm unable to do it. So yeah, it's not just about women going on career break, it's about any person who goes on a break. It's difficult, but most important, I think, for especially for women, I personally being a mother, I know that it becomes emotionally challenging, because
Yeah.
when you need to leave behind your child or your children
Your
who,
mind is always there.
yes, so for you to, so it becomes like you need to, I keep saying, you need to have a on off button. The moment it's time to get to work, you switch on your work mode, and the moment you're off, you need to switch it off, that you don't think of work and you concentrate on family. There's a lot of challenges if you have a child who was dependent on you for many years, and then you are on a career break, and then they decide, and it's challenging not just for you, it's for the child too, because they are also adjusting to something different.
Yeah.
Okay, the challenge of not having the mother around or not having the father around, who's always been there with you, and you're going to see them only for some time in the morning or some time in the
Mhm.
evening. That's going to be more challenging for them too. So sometimes when mothers or fathers too, okay, they would just fall, how do I say, they get their emotions come in the way where they might just decide that no, I'm not going to continue with this, and they would just break that opportunity they got. So I would think that the best, we cannot advise people not to do that, because it's a choice a person has to make, that do you want your build a career, or are you going to get emotionally wavered, and then you decide that you will continue and you do not want to work. Because after joining Trident, I've also been handling interviews. So I do the communication rounds of interviews. So that's when I realized there are quite some people who come in from career breaks, and we have given them opportunities to join Trident. But there have been people who, after a day or two, decide not to come back to work.
So, what were the challenges you faced after entering the workforce? Like what was it for you? Like after you joined back, and the
Yes.
main challenges you faced. I'm sure there's a lot of technical changes. There's a lot of things that were earlier different, and a lot of changes would have come in the organization. So
So before I quit, we did not have something called as the AI. Okay, the AI is the latest word that's there everywhere. So yes, that's something that is challenging, because that's, I would say, one thing you need to upskill yourself is to get to learn the AI tools better.
mm,
That's one, because anywhere and everywhere you join now, AI runs. So it is a helpful tool at times. Okay, because I prefer sometimes when I have to draft emails or write something, I know I have the initial draft, but if I just want to get it modified or make it look more pleasant, I would go to the AI to get it done for me, as long as you have the data with you. So yeah, learning something about AI. So when I joined in, I would say I had actually forgotten a lot about Excel, because I had at all the 7 years you did not use Excel at all.
touch the computer
So
itself
yeah.
almost.
So yeah, PowerPoint is something that even today is my go-to tool for presentations, because I know there are n number of AI tools that are available. You just need to give them what you want and you get your PPT ready. But I still feel that personal touch missing when you do it from an AI. So when it comes to PPT, it's something that I prefer using my own way of working, because I can animate it and add data the way I want, rather than modifying something someone else has done or the tool is done for you. So yes, that's one. So there are a lot of options available now on. If you would look up online, that's available, that you can make good presentations from.
Presentations, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
but then some of it, when you start using, you would see it gets a little complicated. But that's when you switch back to PowerPoint, because it's much easier to work on, because you are giving it, you're directing it, so it works for you the way you want. So I find it
Great.
quite interesting, or I like the way it works that way. So yes, but another thing is adjusting to the people around you.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
so when there have been, so if you look at we have these generations, so currently the kind of uh, new blood that comes into the recruitment system or into your office system are people from whom we call are the Gen Zs and the one before it, right? So millennials are still easier to handle, but then when it comes to Gen Zs, it becomes a
See,
little
yeah,
difficult for them, for us, okay, to train them and get them on track, because it's very difficult to get their attention to what you are trying to say, because the moment you start a topic and it goes on, and then they lose their focus. So it's very difficult to get them to be focused to what you are saying, because they come with their own set of thoughts and ideas. So it is not easy a task to push through what you have to tell them, because they grew, I would say most of the Gen Zs, they have an attention span as a Insta reel. Okay, that's all their span is. Okay, because that's how their life is around. Most, I think, if you look at them, everybody has a phone, and you would not see anyone with a basic model of a phone, right? So they are capable enough to get phones which are of a higher model. Sometimes we would shy away showing our phones to them because they have a better model than us. Okay, so that's one of the things that you would notice. And then most of the time they are on these reels or YouTube. So now that TikTok is not there, they have something else coming up. So they grew up, and in that, if you look at most of them, they had some part of their education during that COVID phase. So what happens is they were introduced to technology, and they had the opportunity to explore technology more than we could even think about. So yeah, sometimes when you are training, you would see that they are trying to correct you because they know something better than you. Yeah, it is a learning process. I would not say it is not a learning process, because when you learn from, you get to learn a lot from these
yes,
people.
yes.
Okay, so they it's either, whole thing is that we might come from different generations, but always we need to remember that, you know you are just, you cannot expect everybody to be the same as you, because everybody's way of growing is much different
Different.
to what you are. Their mindset might not be the same. You might talk to them about a lot of things, but how are they understanding what you are trying to say? Are they open to what you are trying to say? Is something that sometimes it becomes difficult for you to understand also. Okay, so anytime now of this first, you try to pressurize, they're not ready to accept pressures. Okay, many of them, they do not know what is work pressure. Okay, and they are not okay if somebody would tell them like, can you stay back for another 10 minutes and do this, and they would not be okay with it, because they feel that, this, their timing is like the 9 to 5 job. So after that they have their own life to lead after 5 o'clock. So yeah, so these are some things which I feel that I found was challenging when I came back, because when I left L&D 7 years back, I'm sorry, it was like now 8 years, 8 years back, then I did not have this, because the moment you're in a training room, they know that, okay, the trainer is there, we're going to listen to what the trainer says, and we will follow what the trainer says, because they know that it is for their help, and for their benefit, that a trainer is there in that particular place to help them. But then that doesn't happen now, because for them, they're like, can we take a break? Can we take a break? That's how it is. It's, they want more breaks, because they're not able to sit beyond a certain period of time. So what we do now is create bite-sized trainings, so that,
Yes.
instead of having these long hours, initially I would stand for like 3 hours, 4 hours to deliver a training. Now I make sure it finishes, every hour there's a break in the training, so it's easier for the kids to understand.
Give the attention as
Correct,
well.
because their attention span just goes off after that. So yeah, that's something, unless we are open minded to understand that every person who comes in are different, it is not easy to actually accept the changes that happens in the world when you actually go back after a break.
Yes. So finally, Shirley, your journey is very inspiring. I do understand the challenges, that would have come in place and how you overcame them. But finally, what advice would you like to give women and also men, who would like to enter, workforce after a break? Are there any skill sets or certifications that they need to focus on? And, what could help them, to, stay accustomed to the new kind of, entering back into this kind of a workforce again?
So, what I would advise is basically now every person's career journey is going to be different. Okay, and your aspirations could have changed when you have taken a break. You might have realized this is not what I would have wanted to do in the future. I think they need to focus because we have now n number of platforms available, giving us some of them even giving us free certification courses. Okay, find them and see what you want to do, because if as an L&D person, for me, I would, as a if there is a person who is from L&D, I would suggest look up for courses like which will enhance your skills. So there's so many coming up like instructional designing, ADDI role. There are a lot of things that are available for an L&D person which you might not have gone through previously, but then having them out there on your resume is going to add benefit to you. Okay, and of late even L&D has changed, so you would see people are looking, it's no longer just training, it is also the development of people. So
Yes.
yes, so we need to look at it from that aspect also. So any career for that matter, okay, you need to explore. If you do not find that time to explore and understand what you want, okay, it becomes difficult for you to actually make that break in that career break of yours.
Great. Thank you for such wonderful insights, Shirley. So it was a great, session with you today. So all I can say is, your career isn't defined by break, but it is shaped by how you grow during it. So thank you again, and we
Thanks
look
a lot,
forward to
Sheetal.
the next sessions in future. And have a great day.